rather than take the risk of jeopardizing our use of silver by ingesting any man-made vitamin C, I'm always looking for substitutes, although if I have to, if I didn't plan something in advance, then yeah, I had to drink water while I was sick with the flu and cold as the aftermath of killing off a cancer tumor inside of me with the use of cesium chloride with MSM. I added the MSM myself. That's a very good idea. But then I used this freeze-dried lemon juice crystals that has man-made vitamin C in it, and that acts as a reducing agent to silver. Not natural vitamin C that's already inherent in our food, but man-made vitamin C, no matter how they make it, it's always the same. It's a reducing agent. It'll reduce iodine to its iodide state. It'll get rid of iodine stains. If you stain something, you can use vitamin C to remove the stain, because it's a reducing agent. It's just a chemical fact of life. And since Argyria is predicated on reducing silver to its metallic state, we want to do the opposite. We want to oxidize silver. And we want to make sure we maintain silver in its oxidized state at all times within the body fluids. So to that end, since I need to drink, and I need to encourage to drink, I'm creating my own artificial lemonade substitute. And you can see from the nice brown color, I'm using maple sugar to sweeten it. That's the first ingredient. The most important ingredient is sugar. So I put the sugar in first until I have enough in there to get me encouraged to drink the water, because I have a hard time drinking water. And then I take an acid blend that I've made myself from various acids, and I'll show you this. These are just yogurt containers that I accumulate to store various things that I want to store. So I'll show you how I make it. Let me see, where's the lid for the maple sugar? So I'll close up the maple sugar. Done with that. And we're done with the lemon juice. We'll put it back on the shelf in case we need it for emergencies. So what I do is I went to an Ohio beer making company, homemade beer making supplies, and they sell various acids, organic acids, and they sell a blend. And the blend is composed of 45% citric acid. Is that right? Yeah, 45% citric acid, 45% malic acid, and 10% tartaric acid. Okay? Now, for good measure, I can add potassium bitartrate. But basically, the only acid I need to add is lactic acid, because that's what's going to help me absorb calcium. Calcium lactate is the best way to take calcium. But how readily do you find calcium lactate supplement in the health food store? You don't. And if you do, it's expensive. Well, the cheap way is to just get oyster shell calcium, or something similar, and eat a lot of yogurt, or sauerkraut. Well, I have no money to buy yogurt. I love yogurt. That's why I have so many yogurt containers. Duh. So, must be something about it. Yeah, it's the lactic acid. When the lactose is turned into acid, it's lactic acid, and it makes calcium very absorbable. And I like to eat raw cabbage, because that'll turn into sauerkraut inside my gut. So I add that to my acid blend, and then I have an appropriate acid. So I add the sugar first until I have enough sweetness, and then I add just enough acid to help improve it still further. The acid helps improve the sugar, but it's the sugar predominantly. That's the whole point of drinking, getting myself motivated to drink the water. And that's it. That's the recipe for making a lemonade substitute. It is an acid blend, which, lactic acid is very strong, so you want to dilute it down with other acids, and that's why I use the citric acid, the malic acid. Oh, I see. So this blend does not have tartaric... No, it does have tartaric acid in it. It just doesn't have potassium. I see. So if I add potassium bitartrate, I end up adding potassium. So it's half of an electrolyte. It doesn't have the sodium, but that's okay, because I put sodium chloride in the bath when I take my silver baths. So this is a good way to take potassium. And when we're not taking cesium, we need to take potassium. And so I'm come to the conclusion that the only way to properly deal with cesium is in an alternating fashion, because we really don't need much cesium. And so it's best to alternate. And so when we're not taking cesium, we take potassium, and we take silver in the bath. And potassium is different ways. We can take it in a drink, and when I use a leavening agent, double-acting leavening agent, I could use potassium bicarbonate in addition to potassium bitartrate. But I doubt it. I'll probably use sodium bicarbonate, so it'll be an equal blend between sodium and potassium ions. Anyway, enough of that.